Sometimes the most surprising stories in Hollywood aren't the ones filled with superheroes or giant explosions. Sometimes the most shocking stories are the ones that feel uncomfortably real, and when I first heard about Apple TV's new series Margos Got Money Troubles, I had that exact reaction. At first glance, it sounds like a simple comedy drama. But the deeper I looked into the premise, the cast, and the story behind it, the clearer it became that this show is trying to do something much more interesting, because this isn't just a story about fame or internet culture. It's a story about survival, and more importantly, it's about the strange ways people reinvent themselves when life suddenly falls apart. The series stars Elle Fanning in a role that might be one of the most unexpected turns in her career so far. Many viewers know Fanning from projects like The Great, The Girl from Plainville, and several high-profile films. But in this show, she steps into a character that feels completely different from anything she has played before. In Margo's Got Money Troubles, Fanning plays a young woman named Margo. Margo is only 20 years old. She recently dropped out of college. She has a newborn baby, and she has absolutely no idea how she is going to pay her bills. Now that alone would already be enough to create a compelling drama. But the situation becomes even more complicated when we learn about Margo's background. She is the daughter of two very unusual parents. Her mother used to work as a Hooters waitress, while her father was once a professional wrestler. So from the very beginning, Margo grows up surrounded by chaos, unpredictability, and a family dynamic that never quite fits into traditional expectations. Despite all of this, Margo has a dream. She wants to become a writer, but dreams don't pay rent, and as the pressure around her continues to grow, she realizes she needs to find a way to make money quickly. That's when she makes a decision that changes everything. Margo starts an OnlyFans account. At first it seems like a desperate attempt to solve a temporary problem, but surprisingly, the plan works. The account quickly becomes successful, bringing in money faster than Margo ever expected. Suddenly, the same internet that once ignored her is now paying attention. But success online comes with its own complications, because fame, especially internet fame, always carries a price, and the show begins to explore what happens when a young mother suddenly finds herself navigating money, attention, and judgment from the outside world all at the same time. What makes the series particularly interesting is that it is based on the novel by Rufi Thorpe. The book gained significant attention for its honest and sometimes uncomfortable exploration of motherhood, financial struggle, and internet culture, and according to Elle Fanning herself, she immediately saw the potential when she first read the story. She explained that when she got her hands on the book early, she was instantly struck by how unique the narrative felt. Even while reading it, she could already imagine how the story could translate into a television series. That excitement eventually led to the project becoming a collaboration between several major production teams. The series is being produced by A24, a studio known for taking creative risks and supporting unusual storytelling. It is also produced by Llewellyn Pictures, the production company founded by Elle Fanning and her sister Dakota Fanning. Nicole Kidman's company Blossom Films is also involved in the production, adding even more star power behind the scenes. And speaking of star power, the cast of Margo's Got Money Troubles is honestly impressive. Alongside Elle Fanning, the show features Michelle Pfeiffer, Nick Offerman, Greg Kinnear, and Marcia Gay Harden. Each of these actors brings a different kind of energy to the story. Michelle Pfeiffer plays Margo's mother, a former Hooters waitress named Xian. Her character is preparing to marry a youth pastor from Orange County named Kenny, played by Greg Kinnear. Nick Offerman appears as Margo's father, Jinx, a former professional wrestler who has recently been released from rehabilitation. Even without seeing the full show yet, you can already imagine the kind of family dynamic that might exist between these characters. It's messy, it's unpredictable, and it's probably going to be very entertaining to watch. There are also rumors surrounding Nicole Kidman's role in the series. While details are still somewhat unclear, it has been suggested that she may play a former wrestler who now works as a custody lawyer. If that turns out to be accurate, it would add yet another unusual layer to the already eccentric world of this story. And honestly, the more I hear about this cast, the more curious I become about how all these personalities will interact on screen, because the show doesn't just focus on Margo's internet fame. It also explores family relationships, generational differences, and the complicated emotional reality of becoming a parent at a young age. At its heart, the story asks a question that many people might find surprisingly relatable. What would you do if life suddenly forced you into a situation you weren't ready for? Would you follow the traditional path that society expects? Or would you take a completely unconventional route just to survive? Margo chooses the unconventional path, and that decision becomes the central engine, driving the entire series. Another interesting aspect of the project is its timing. Streaming platforms are constantly competing to deliver the next big hit series. For years, Apple TV was sometimes viewed as a smaller player in the streaming world, but that perception has changed dramatically. Shows like Severance and For All Mankind have proven that Apple TV can compete with the biggest platforms in the industry, and with a cast like this, Margo's Got Money Troubles looks like another example of Apple taking creative risks. This isn't the kind of safe, predictable series that tries to appeal to everyone. Instead, it seems to embrace complicated characters and morally messy situations, which honestly makes it much more interesting, because stories about imperfect people often feel the most authentic. As the trailer suggests, the show balances comedy with emotional tension. Margo's journey is sometimes funny, sometimes uncomfortable, and occasionally heartbreaking. The series also seems willing to examine the reality of modern internet culture. Platforms like OnlyFans have changed the way many people approach work, fame, and personal identity. For some individuals, these platforms represent financial freedom. For others, they come with intense public scrutiny. Margo's story appears to sit right in the middle of that debate, and that makes the show feel very relevant to the world we're living in right now. The series is scheduled to premiere on Apple TV on April 15, 2026. If the show delivers on its premise, it could easily become one of the most talked about new series of the year, not just because of its cast, but because of the complicated questions it raises. And honestly, I'm curious to see how audiences respond to it. Will viewers embrace Margo as a relatable character trying to survive in a difficult situation? Or will they see her choices in a completely different way? Either way, it feels like the kind of show that will spark conversation, and sometimes those are the most interesting stories to watch. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy exploring new films and series before everyone else is talking about them, make sure you keep your eyes on Screen Radar, because we're always tracking the next story that might surprise the entire entertainment world.